graceful and beautiful and physical and angry all at the same time.
Were you to do it, your mind would cave in and your heart would explode within your chest.
This is going to be a shame.
Here we go!
What's happening, everybody? Welcome inside a Friday afternoon edition of the Tall Can Audio Podcast. No better time for a pint. It is a beautiful Friday at that. A guy making his TCA debut here, Brent Wallace from Coming In Hot. What's happening, Wally?
I feel like there's like a golf clap that should be right about now. Thanks, Brent. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I'm waiting to open this can of beer.
This is it, and power to you for having some willpower, because the number of people, and it's, I don't know, I don't give out clear enough instructions, I guess, but the number of people who, walk in, sit down, and crack the beer, and really it's not a big deal, but we like to get the sound effect on the show. That's all it is.
I will say, as a rookie, you didn't lay out the instructions properly. So this is on you.
Well, I'll give you the same spiel I give everybody when they make their debut here. It's more of a pub table than an interview, so interrupt me, correct me, bust on me, whatever needs to happen. No problem on that. But you're right, I try not to give too strict instructions coming in here. So, but that is one that we'll start with. What did you grab out of the fridge there?
The only reason I did this, Matt, is because it has like a TV look to it.
Okay.
It's called Evening Edition, Beyond the Pale. And it's a dark lager.
Yeah.
But it's a light beer, which I've never heard of.
Yeah.
3.8% alcohol.
That's a nice way to start a Friday afternoon.
The beer you want when you need it most. So, Friday afternoon, I'm into. I'm excited. I don't know what's going to happen.
You now have my full permission to open your beer.
Okay. Quiet, everybody.
What an old pro. This guy knows what's up.
Am I allowed to drink it now?
Yeah, have at it, my friend. Mine comes from the Whitewater Brewing Company, and this is one, it is that season, and this will be my first pumpkin spice beer of the year. An espresso porter with pumpkin spice, checking in at 4.4%, so we are easing into our Friday here. Wally's got places to go afterwards.
Well, I still got the Redlex, yeah, but I don't know if I'm allowed to pump Whitewater but they are a fantastic company to deal with. They used to be a sponsor into our show early on. They used to show up every month with cases of beer. We called it the Beer Santa, and they are phenomenal. I love that company. I think the world of them. They are great people.
They are.
And the beer is really good. So.
100%. Around here, when that happens, like I've got some friends at Lake Bays and Nita and Whippersnapper and Vimy. I call it IPA-ola.
Yes.
Fun with words, right? That's all. I should let the good listener know. Let's ask Wally first. You a baseball guy? You fired up for Saturday here, the Blue Jays playoff run?
See, I'm gonna.
Oh no.
I care, but I don't care.
Okay.
I've watched more baseball in the last couple of months than I have in the last 10 years. Probably.
Okay.
I've covered the Expos. I worked in Montreal for a year.
Yeah.
When Pedro Martinez was winning the Cy Young.
Yeah. Okay.
Enjoyed it. And I've done some Jays games and stuff. Matt Stairs is from Fredericton, and we know each other and whatever. And it's too slow. Now I appreciate the pitch clock now.
Yep.
The game is better.
Picked up the pace a bit.
Yes, but I couldn't handle it was dragging and dragging. And so it wasn't quick enough for me.
Okay. Well, for the good listener who does enjoy a ball game, yesterday we had our buddy Andrew Stoughton from the batflip.ca on here to take a look back at the year that was for the Toronto Blue Jays and get us prepared for what's to come. And before that, Dan Schulman was here.
Oh, the voice.
Right? The voice, yeah.
He's such a good man.
Nice guy. Always makes time for us a couple times per season, and this was no exception, so those were fun. And next week, somebody, Wally, you know pretty well, Graham Nichols, will be on the show.
Graham,
every year he comes in here to help me out and do an Ottawa Senators season preview, and Jeff Vayette will do the other end of the province, the Leaf season preview. All of that to come next week.
Not familiar with that team.
Oh, no.
Wait. I want to go back to, there's one thing about baseball that I'm intrigued by, and I would go in a heartbeat, is the Savannah Bananas.
Yeah. They've got everybody's attention here.
And the first time I heard anything about them was on 60 Minutes. I saw this documentary, and I followed them ever since. I signed up for their tickets, because you can't get them.
No.
And they awarded me the tickets. And I was like, this is great. I can't wait to go to Nashville. And I was like, I can't make it to Nashville. I had to give up the tickets.
Oh, man.
I was like hoping it'd be like Boston or something, a quick little trip. I just couldn't get to Nashville.
Did you manage to turn it around and at least sell them for a decent time?
No, I didn't even take.
No,
I just
didn't take.
turned
okay,
it back
like
in. My neighbor, like 3 doors down, who's full on Jay's guy, like full on. He has gone to the Savannah Bananas, and I'm jealous because his kid wears the jersey around all the time. I'm trying to get one of them on the show.
Yeah,
because they have a guy that pitches from the mound with a stick, a hockey stick. He's Canadian. He wears like the lumberjack, or they used to. I don't know if he's still there, but yeah, I want anyway.
Are you a classic, an old school wrestling guy at all?
Oh God, I grew up with Atlantic Grand Prix wrestling.
Oh, okay.
So Sweet Daddy Siki.
Yeah, okay.
There was like Ric Flair came out of there, if I'm not mistaken.
I went through there anyway. Yeah,
there was a
time.
few, and yeah, like
I was more thinking a little bit later than that. The Goon, right? There was a wrestler who wore wrestling boots that looked like hockey skates.
Oh, really? Yeah, no, I don't know him, but I did appreciate the Atlantic. It used to be on Saturdays on TV, and I'd watch it. Yeah, but I'm not a big wrestling guy.
No,
I do appreciate the documentaries. Like the stuff around WWE is fascinating to me.
A lot of people it's more interesting to see what's going on behind the scenes than in the ring, right?
Because what's in the ring seems like it's predetermined, if you will.
Yeah, of course.
The outcome is predetermined, but the wrestling I get, hey, hats off to you. If you want to jump on a table,
right? It's physically taxing.
You are an athlete to me, without question. Yeah. It's just all the, I don't know what you call it, all the BS behind the scenes.
Right.
That's amazing to me. I watched the Vince McMahon documentary.
That one was wild.
Yeah. Like that stuff blows my mind. I love a good sports doc, and that was really good.
Yeah. My dad has never really, when he was a kid, he watched a little bit, but when I was a kid, I watched a ton, and he would have to take me to, the Oshawa Civic Center where I grew up my uncle would order the pay-per-views at his place. That was his brother-in-law. He wasn't overly fond of, to be honest with you. So that was his sacrifice. I can remember him taking me to that uncle's place to watch King of the Ring. It was on Father's Day. My dad has to spend his Father's Day with somebody he couldn't possibly care less.
That's great. I remember, way off top, I guess, is the Hulk Hogan cartoon show.
And Rock and Wrestling or whatever.
That stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, he would, like I said, he kind of knows some of these guys from having to watch so much of it with me. But every now and then, he would never turn on Monday Night Raw these days. But if the doc pops up on A&E, he'll sit and watch a little bit of that, right? They're well done.
I don't know how we got onto this stuff. Anyway, one of my favorite Twitter followers is Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah, okay.
I'm like, I don't know how you were following. I don't care. I just think it's really cool.
This is a tough segue, but I got to ask you, because we're going to pretend to be topical here. We're going to pretend to be hip, Wally.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Have you listened at all to the new Tay-Tay album today? Brand new?
Oh, I haven't.
The Life of a Showgirl.
I should text my daughter right now and ask, because she's
This is why I thought maybe you'd have a handle on it.
No, it came out at midnight, apparently, right?
Yes.
I haven't heard. No, I've been at the rink today. I'm embarrassed. I haven't listened yet.
No, I've heard the first 3 or 4 songs. It's not normally I won't pretend I hate Taylor Swift, but I'm not I'm more of a rock guy or whatever else. But it is Thanksgiving next weekend. I will be seeing my niece, and I'd like to be able to converse about the topic.
And that's the only thing you're going to be able to talk about.
That's about it. She was giving me the 6-7 thing the other day. And as a Leaf fan, I hear enough 6-7s. I don't like when those numbers are combined, but she has no idea what I'm talking about, and I have no idea what she's talking about.
I don't mind Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And she's phenomenal at what she does, and a superstar. I know you're supposed to if you're a big rock guy. No, I can't. I don't mind. Her stuff comes on.
I'll sing along. One of the biggest star in the world. Yeah, it's fantastic. All right. Well, we won't spend much time breaking down the album then. We'll pass over that.
You know what? If you'd have told me, I would have stayed up all night.
Yeah,
listened,
at midnight, you and your daughter could have done the download at 12:01. So, look, there's a few different places I want to take you here, and we'll talk a little Senators later on. But I'd like to start with sort of your own, whenever somebody comes in here for the first time, your own kind of your journey, where you start, your education, your road to TSN, and now into coming in hot. Just kind of give us a sense of your path.
God, we'll be here for a while. I'm going to try and make this really short. In high school, I went to... Okay. So at Fredericton High, it was the largest high school in Canada at the time because there was 3,000 students because it was the only one in the city.
Wow.
So there were 32 sports teams. So there were 3 men's basketball teams. There'd be the varsity team, which any grade could play, and then double A, which only 11s and 10s could play on, and then grade 10 was on single A. So I played single A. The reason I'm saying that is because I wasn't very good when I say I played high school basketball.
Sure.
I didn't make the team in grade 11. The broadcast, which is like Rogers Cable, said, "Hey, we'd like you to be the color guy." I'm like,
This is in high school.
yeah. I'm like, sure. I know you don't have anybody else, but I feel honored you're asking me.
How do they choose you? Like, is
'Cause
there
he just asked.
You just walked up to the kid who was.
So I'd known him because his name was Cable Ken, and he had the only thing he wore were like basketball warm-ups, or he had every jersey imaginable of every pro sports team. That's all he wore. Anyway, phenomenal guy. Did all the games. Anyway, he just asked me one day.
Yeah.
So I got into it for grade 11 and 12, and then when I graduated, I went to university, and then after the first semester, I didn't do very well, and then after the end of the year, they asked me not to come back. But that, yeah.
Relatable, honestly, over here.
I wish I still had the letter because I had like a 0.4 GPA.
Okay.
Anyway, a lot of therapy later, I know why. So in grade 12 university at the second half, I opened my own sports clothing store.
Really?
Yeah, the guy that I worked at Canadian Tire, and the guy that was the store manager
Was it
also
Cable Ken? Did you raid his closet?
No, but he did come in.
Yeah.
The store manager had this store, and he wanted to open a second one, and so I opened it. Anyway, it didn't work out between us. So then I was looking for something to do, and my mom just said, "There's a broadcast school in Halifax. It's an ad in the paper. Like, this is when they were classifieds. This is 1994.
Okay.
It may even be 93. And she's like, "Look, there's a broadcasting school. Go do this." I was like, okay.
Get out of the house.
So you had to actually apply to go to this school, which now I believe is just a way to make money. So the guy that owned the school was Alex J. Walling. Now, if you're old enough, you'll remember Alex J. Walling was the TSN reporter in the Maritimes at the time. He also did the local sports which ended up becoming global in the Maritimes.
Okay.
I'm trying to get this out.
Yeah. No, I'm intrigued by this, to be honest with you.
So I go to this broadcasting school. It's 11 months. It's at the time like $6,300. It's expensive, whatever, but I'm like, I don't know. Sure, this sounds like a good idea. And the first day, Alex goes, "Everybody stand up, tell me who you are and what you want to do." And I'm like, "I'm Brent, and I want your job." And he brought me in after, and he's like, "You're one of the few guys that's actually dressed up today," and whatever. He goes, "Listen, I will help you." So he took me on, like, he gave me the camera to take. This is a $50,000 camera. I'd go shoot high school, or I'd go shoot junior hockey games, shoot whatever I could. He then took me to TSN shoots while I found out why. Like, I'm still in school, so he could bill for the camera guy as well as the reporter. I get it now. Anyway. And so he was very, very good to me. And then he got me the volunteer gig at the TV station he was working at the time. And then he had left, and this other guy had come in. But then they started. I did that for a while. Then they started paying me for an hour a night, and then 2 hours. But I would still go every 6 hours a night. So from school, like 8 to 5, and then 6 to 12 every night. Then school was done, and I still worked at Canadian Tire, 8 to 5 or whatever it was, and then 6 to midnight. So I did that for a year of just constant on the go. I was exhausted, but I'm like, you do what you got to do. So eventually the TV station hired me full time as a reporter, and then they gave me news, and I didn't want to do news, but they're offering me a full time job.
Yep.
I'm like, okay. Within 3 months, I was threatened to be sued, escorted briskly off a ship, and then chased to an RCMP outpost. I'm like, geez, like, can I just cover the Blue Jays? Like, just give me something. So eventually I got moved into sports, but then Global Montreal opened. So I was only there for like a year full time, if you will.
Made some enemies.
I was like I just remember I went to this Christmas. It was December 23rd, and you're like, you got to fill the newscast. Yeah. So I go to this market, and all of a sudden, and they're like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "Well, I just want to do like a shopping story. Like, I'm just trying to fill my time here."
It's
lady.
local news.
And so I go in, and all of a sudden, the vendors are like, "They're kicking us out of here. They just gave us a letter." And I got people following me now. So I don't know what's happening behind me. I just know I'm like, this is weird. Anyway, so people are like, yeah, they're kicking us out. Here's the letter. And I'm reading this letter, and now my focus changes. I got a real story.
Sure.
So I come back. Everybody's excited. The news director calls. Hey, Brent, you can't run that story. I'm like, what? They're one of our biggest sponsors. And I'm like, what? And they said, you're there under false pretense. I'm like, listen, I am not smart enough to come up with this on my own. Anyway, so story didn't run. That was my introduction to how TV sometimes
And
works.
your introduction to what news is going to look like in 2025 when corporate intertwined with everything.
So that happened to me at Hockey Canada, actually, a story. And I know it's Hockey Canada, but it's not to do, it was just to do with coaches. And we can get to that later.
Sure.
So then Global Montreal opens up a TV station in 1997 in Montreal, and I get hired as one of their sports people. Go to Montreal. 8 months later, they canceled the sports show. I'd won an award covering university sports, and then they go like, we're going to make you the camera guy. And I'm like, really? So Michael Whalen, the longtime TSN
Habs
reporter,
guy,
we're at an Expos game one night, and he's like, Brent, there's an opening in Ottawa. I've called them already. You're to call them tomorrow. And that was in July or June, and then 2 weeks later, I was hired at TSN.
Wow.
I owe Michael Whalen a ton.
Sounds like.
So then I was there for like 22 and a half years, and they asked me not to come back. And then I went to start my own show.
Yeah.
So, and that's been a 5 years of, almost 5, learning a lot.
Well, tell me about that a little bit, because I do like to dive into that a little bit with people who are doing their own kind of content creation now, and you were sort of pushed in that direction by TSN. But I'm sort of curious, it's taken on a few different forms. It was Wally and Method, and then coming in hot. Like, what does that look like as you are trying to get your feet wet? Because I'm sure this required, on top of already having built a reputation in the market and your ability to host and things like that, I'm sure there were things that were suddenly thrust upon you that you hadn't done before.
Like everything?
Yeah. Okay.
So I didn't listen to a lot of podcasts. So I didn't know. I just, let's do a podcast. Yeah. So it's my wife's fault, Lisa, who you had on here a couple of months ago.
Yeah. Ian said we had the better Wallace first.
Yeah, no, you nailed that one. She's like, why don't you do a podcast? And this is like day 4 after being laid off.
Right.
And I'm like, sure. Like everything's just in a fog. Do you remember that movie, Up, I believe, with Mel Gibson, who's the guy that flies in to lay people off all the time, and then he flies out?
Yeah. I don't know that I saw it. I'm aware of it. I know it.
Something to that effect.
Yeah.
And people are yelling at it right now going, it's not that name. Okay. And I know, I apologize. And so in the movie, he comes in, and then they bring people in, and they just, we're laying you off, and then the mind just goes like to mush, and you just hear noises, but you don't know what they're saying.
Yeah.
That's what it's like.
Okay.
So day 4,
there's a bit of a bad reputation around this show of being the place people go after they're laid off to talk about.
This is a therapy session.
A little bit. And so I do remember Lever Sage had just been on the show for the first time like a week before he got laid off. And so, look, like you, I know a lot of people down there when that round of cuts was made. And so I just sort of sent a text to people, hope everything's cool. And he said, I'll see you soon, was his response on the day he got let go. So it's a little morbid, but it is what it is, right?
It's funny now to, I'll sidetrack it.
Yeah.
Like, if someone's laid off now, I call them immediately. So, and one of the reasons is I have the lawyer. So Gord Miller was like the 4th guy I feel like to call me. Something into that. He was very early on me being laid off. And he's like, Brent, do you have a lawyer? And I'm like, Gord, I don't have my phone just got disconnected.
Sure.
I don't have anything. And he goes, I've already called this guy. His name, ironically, is Tim Gleason.
Wow.
Who
long-time defenseman.
Drafted by the Sens.
Okay. I didn't
ended up playing in Toronto.
Yes.
And I'm like,
in
okay.
Our
and so
era.
He's like, call him. And then shortly thereafter, Greg Millen called me, and he's like, do you have a lawyer? And I'm like, yes. He goes, I got a guy. And I'm like, okay. He goes, his name's Tim Gleason. I'm like, well, this is it. Okay, this is
the guy.
This is the guy. And so I called Tim Gleason. He goes, I don't know who you are, but there's a lot of people that think you're very highly regarded. And I'm like, and so they took extremely good care of me. So my point is, I will always call right away and just go, listen, your head is scrambling.
Yeah.
But one of the things you need to do, take care of right now, is to have a good lawyer.
Right.
So Anyway, I can tell you the exact moment where I was when I called Lee Versage that day.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
like
it's memorable stuff.
It
man.
is.
People go like it's
Like you have no like you can sit. You don't appreciate it till you go through it. Obviously, it's like any trauma.
sure.
But I can now appreciate, even if it seems like, oh, you'll be fine, you'll land on your feet. And when one door opens and
Yeah,
closes,
all
I'm
that.
like, if I fucking hear the story one more time about one door closes, I'm like, please, this isn't the day.
Yeah. People mean well, but they don't know what to say.
Like,
right?
and I understand, and I appreciate that. They just don't know what to say.
Yeah.
And so I do, like, all the people that reached out to me that day, or for like 4 days, was wild. So back to
Lisa suggests.
so she's
a
like, why don't
podcast.
you do a podcast with Mark Mathot? And I'm like, okay. So I call Mark, and he's like, sure. What do you want to do? I'm like, let's do this. So I had to wait a while. So I think we were a month before we launched, and then I had to wait 3 months because Bell wouldn't let you have any advertising while you were still working through your stuff. So that's how that came about. So Mark and I and again, and Craig Medallia, who's like a huge star in all this, he was the producer. He worked for the Sens. Without him, it wouldn't have gotten anywhere.
Right.
And so we do the show, and now there's some so I've never really discussed this, but there were times when like Meth didn't want to do the show, and I'm like, I need to do a show.
Yeah.
Like we've promised guests, or he wouldn't show up to do an interview with a guest, and I'm like, so they're like, not everything.
We're
was
trying
perfect.
to hold sponsors and things like
Right,
that. There's
and I'm like,
responsibilities.
So, but when you're in that type of, I'll say, tax bracket, it's not that important.
This is it. When you've made your millions and
So-
you're doing it as a hobby,
so there's a bit of friction at that point.
sure. Yeah.
And then the deal came. The Nation Network came to us and said, "Hey, we'd like to do this deal, and we'd like to partner, basically, and we want to do 3 shows a week, and maybe eventually up to 5." And we agreed to the deal, and then Meth backed out of the deal.
Okay.
And so I had to scramble. And we had already discussed about bringing Bobby Ryan on as a third.
Yep.
And he was always very good. So I reached out to Bob, and I'm like, "Do you want to do this with me?" And he's like, "Sure." And I'm like, "Are you sure?"
Right.
Like, I want you to take
Another
a minute
guy
to think
in that
about
tax
this.
bracket.
Well,
I need a commitment, right?
And he had like
he'd been through some things.
right? People know that he's gone to rehab.
Yep.
And then so he battles alcoholism. And I've been very protective of saying anything about him, but
Sure.
I think that that's pretty public.
Yes.
So I'm like, you're sure? Like I can't have you just say yes and then walk away in a month. And he's like, no. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So we do it. It's not as good as the Meth show, but it's okay, and it's coming along, and Bob's getting better. But again, doesn't always want to do everything all the time.
Right.
So, oh no, wait. So I've never discussed this.
Okay.
I probably shouldn't, but what the hell? You've given me free beer.
That 3.8%'s gone right to you.
So can't wait to do the Red Black.
Yeah.
So they, so I need to back up. So
Sure.
he agrees to it. I'm like, okay, fine. We're about to launch the next day. It is Sunday. We're launching like Monday, October 1st, October 2nd, whatever. It's 11:13 in the morning, somewhere in there. And he calls me and says, I got to go to rehab today. Oof. I went, Bob, you know that like the show launches tomorrow.
Episode 1.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
We'll figure this out. So I called Jason York like 10 minutes later. No, Yorkie? He's like, yeah. And we'd worked together before.
Sure,
We knew
yeah.
each other, obviously. He's like, all right, let's do this. I'm like, are you sure?
Right.
So yeah. So I go, I need you for a month. He's like, okay. So we work out a financial arrangement.
Sure.
Start the show the next morning. We're supposed to have DJ Smith on. And the Sens are still, this is the old regime. They still don't like me. I can't. So DJ, I checked with DJ the night before, all this stuff. 20 minutes before airtime, Brent, I can't do the show. I'm like, he goes, yeah, the PR people won't let me. And I'm like, DJ, I asked you.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we called Dave Poulin, who's now working for the Sens, and he's like, yep, Wally, whatever you need. So we were delayed like 20 minutes. He comes on. This is how I'm launching this new show.
So at the time, he's still on TSN,
Yeah.
not at the team
Yeah.
yet. Okay.
So Thank God. Anyway.
Yeah.
So we got the first show off the air or running or whatever, and then we get to like December, and Bob leaves. So Bob comes back after like 6 weeks.
Yep.
And I said to our
And the name, like coming in hot, like it.
So the name is
That's
based
him.
on
It's
that's
his
the whole
tweet coming.
So
into
I'm
the thing,
struggling for a show name.
Yeah.
Up until this point, like I don't like got like the Sens show and just a bunch of just nonsensical names to me. Just that nothing works.
Yep.
And then I go, I remember that tweet.
Yeah. And
So-
it cuts in for the fan base who also remembers, right? Like
Right.
that's a little inside
Yeah.
grab. That's cool, right?
So I'm like, okay, this. Anyway, so Yorkie. So Bob comes back. I'm like, we can't get rid of Yorkie. So I figure out how to make it work with the three of us.
Yep.
Then December, Bob leaves again, and I'm like, thank God Yorkie's here. So it just so people think that Bob left the show because of his tweets. Now there was a lot that led up to this whole, and it played a part.
Sure.
But it wasn't because of the tweets. It was because more personal issues for him that he left the show. And I said, like, the tweets weren't the issue, but we had to do something about
Things
tweets.
were coming to a head anyway.
So, and I think he had run out of runway for this. Like, he just didn't really, his heart wasn't into it. He was just a lot of shit going on.
Yep.
But I ate it all because I didn't want to. There was no way I wanted to sell Bob out to the public and go, "This is what's happening."
Sure.
So I just took it as people are all saying, "You just cut him off, your freedom of speech," and I'm like, so regardless, and it bothers me to this day. It bothers me that Meth left. Like I really like these guys. They've been very good to me. Like we get along away from the microphones, and so that was always tough for me, and it still bothers me.
It's hard, Because like you said, this is going to be your day-to-day, but you're partnering with people who kind of enjoy it but don't need it.
Well, they can
right?
leave any time.
Right.
They can go, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
I'm like,
Or whatever. My Tuesday night got away from me and I don't feel like being on at 9 a.m. on Wednesday.
And so sometimes we get complaint, not very often, mind you, but people are like, well, is the show on like at 9 or is it on at 4? Like what time? And I'm like, to be honest, sometimes it's 9.
Yeah, we'll see.
But Yorkie's he's got a life.
Right.
And if he wants to do so, I don't know, if he's got to go to his physiotherapist or whatever, we'll move the show around. It's not the end of the world to not be every day at 9.
So one of the other things that your young show had to go through, which was really tough, was after bringing in Simmer and working around with him, it was really sad the way all that played out and losing him. Obviously, sports fans in this market were very fond of him and his voice and his takes. And in the different shows you heard afterwards of people talking about him, everyone mentioned his laugh. What?
So Simmer and I had talked. I'm trying to think if I had launched the show with Bobby yet or not. I'd always talked to Simmer about having him on. So there's a couple things. One, Bell Media in Ottawa, for whatever the reason, won't let any of their staff on my show. Like
Really? To this day?
Yeah, I can have anybody from any other Bell Media. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say anything. Any other like Darren Dreger or like.
Oh, okay. From
Like
outside
Frankie
the
Corrado,
market.
Jamie McLennan, like
Yeah.
whatever. But I couldn't have like Dean and Gord, Steve Lloyd. So point is, I had Simmer on. Simmer, Meth and I teamed up against Simmer and Ian Mendez to play a round of golf. And we ended up getting a betting line from our betting partner. Like it was a great day. So the next day I have them on to discuss the golf.
Yep.
Well, he got yelled at. I'm like, okay. So things still haven't settled down. I get you. So we had talked after that about, hey, like at some point, if the radio thing, which I'm not sure how it's going to play out, if anything ever happens, I think there's a way for us to work together. Mm-hmm. And then Bob joins the show, and Simmer and Bobby hates Simmer.
Oh.
So
okay.
I can't have Simmer on while Bobby's on the show. And if there's one episode where Simmer is on and Bob like sat the show out. So that's how I got Simmer on.
Okay.
So Simmer came on twice. And the second time, I think may have played a part in him exiting Bell. I'm not 100% sure, but they were none too pleased.
Yeah, that was the same round of cuts with Lever. And
So I have so Bob is on the show. So I know I can't have Simmer join the show at this point. So I'm like, Simmer, let's figure it out at some point. We should be able to work together.
Yeah.
And so when Bob leaves, it does open the door. But there was a lot of hesitation. And again, stuff like, I don't know what I should say and not say, but like a lot of people in the industry were like, don't do it. And I'm like, but I believe that the dynamic would be really, really good.
Yeah.
And it was.
And Simmer was having his own issues, right?
Yeah.
His own battles.
Yes.
But
Yes.
it was better for him to have a place.
So,
to,
it's funny because, not funny.
I get you. Yeah.
Just before he came on, he went to rehab.
Okay.
Because he launched his show and then it was gone for like a month.
That's
Or
right.
After a month. So he went to
right
rehab.
away. It was.
So he came back out of that. And that's
Yeah.
when we started having the discussion about joining the show. And I'm like, are you sure? I'm like, I can't go through another co-host.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt the show. He's like, no, this would be good. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna see here. Because he had been on just before that as a part-time, like he was the number one rated show we had. In fact, he came on the day that Pierre Dorian was fired, and it was our most watched episode, I think, of the entire year.
Wow.
So anyway, point is, we start talking, and he's like, yeah, no, I'm good. Everything is good. I'm like, okay. And then he gets into the show. Everything is great. Like, we're doing really well. And then there's a like, Yorkie and I are like, do you think something's off today? And eventually it became that he started drinking again. And I'm like, Simmer, you knew, like, I told you the rules before. Like, if you start, I can't have you on the show.
Right.
And that was in November. And he couldn't get himself out of it after. And I'd said, listen, if you can, like, just figure this out, like, there's a chance that we can still work this through. Because we had taken him out of rehab in August, I think it was. Like, I celebrated his birthday with him at the Royal Ottawa. Queensway Carleton. Yorkie and I showed up, and I brought cupcakes. Like,
Sure.
I wanted him to feel like he was he was part of something.
Yeah, I know. Like, there was a group of you, and I
Right.
look.
Yeah.
I'm with you. There's areas you try not to step in here, but there was a group of you guys who took really good care of him and helped him as best you could.
So,
right?
and part of that was because I knew what it's like to be laid off. That was number one.
Yeah.
And when you're a mid-40s guy or late 40s, you're like, well, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
I felt like he was too good to just discard, if you will. And I hope that word is not taken out of context.
Yeah.
So I really believe that he was really good for our show. So he comes back, but then he starts drinking again in November. And we had given him, I thought we had fixed it because we got him into rehab. We got him aftercare. We got him, I had him in a place to live.
Yep.
He had a job that was paying him money. Like, I thought we had won.
He's on a good track here.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
I was like, damn it, like, the show's really good. Like, we're killing this. And then he fell back into it, and that was it. I couldn't get him out of it.
Yeah.
And so I've always felt somewhat responsible, and that is because I had to take him off the show. And
Wow. That's heavy, man. Like,
it's still like, fuck.
You still have to do what's best for the show.
I know, but you feel like you might know what that outcome is.
Right.
And so that one's hard on me. It still is. I will always feel somewhat responsible. So if you watch the show, we launched with Simmer in like September with the bird feeder, because the bird feeder became a part of the show.
Right.
And so I'd always promised, and I'd said it at his funeral, I will always fill the bird feeder. And so to this day, the bird feeder remains full.
It's a nice tribute, man. I think that's yeah. It's tough, but we've sort of outlined here a tough start, a tough road for what you've got. You've got Graham Nichols sitting in now.
Boo. No, I'm just kidding.
It's a slightly different vibe, but it's still a very, like, I've always enjoyed the point of view that Graham comes at things with, and the insight that he brings. How's the current group meshing, and how do you find it working now?
So it's funny. So you'll have to. He's on next week. Right?
Yeah.
So I think he does really, really good work. And I needed a So I was going to Singapore with my wife she was doing a conference, and I'm like, I want to go to this. Like,
Sure.
And then we took some days and went to Thailand. So it was like 10 days. I'm like, I need a co-host to fill in. And I'd asked Graham if he'd fill in with Yorkie. I had Graham on like once or twice before, and he's like, sure. And then he just hasn't left. So
One of those guys who
he just
picks a
hasn't-
spot on your couch and never moves out.
And so I'm like, oh, I just sent him the email with the link every week, day, and he shows up. So yeah, ask him. Yeah, he just hasn't left.
I like that. Once you get your foot in the door, man, don't take it out.
Yeah, and so we get along really well. And he does. It's a different, like it's a completely different vibe. And I can't. It's always tough because I try to compare shows and I can't because the personalities become completely different. I'm hoping this is where the show may land. You never know, but like as you say, Graham brings a whole different element that we've never had in the show, and so I'm going to try to get him to open up more. I think because when we chat away from the mic, he's got lots of
100%.
stuff to joke about.
Well, he
And so-
sat around here a couple times afterwards having a pint when we're done the show. I'm like, why didn't you say that when we had the mics on?
Right. And I'm like, will you just open up a little? So that's he's a work in progress, but he's very good. We get along extremely well.
What's it been like? You mentioned dealing with the old regime versus the new regime.
Jesus.
I know it certainly can't have hurt with Mendez and Sly sort of taking over media relations or communications, whatever you'd want to call it.
Yeah.
They seem to be more open to new media, as douchey as that term
I know.
can be.
Yeah. So
What's
now
it been like?
I'm trying to think when television first started, where the radio people like, damn, like, who are these
Media.
people?
Right. This fad.
Yeah, this will never work. You guys don't know what you're doing. Not even in color. First of all, Ian and I are very good friends. We've traveled
Never
the
known
world
it the way he
together.
was talking about you in here, but
That doesn't shock me.
I went to that comedy night you and Yorkie and he did over at
Yuck Yucks.
Yuck Yucks in Nepean or Canada or Canada. I
They
guess it
kicked
was.
us off the stage. I think we went so long.
That was fun though, man. You guys had a good rapport, clearly.
Yeah. So like Mendez and I, we've done Vancouver Olympics together every day. We've done London Olympics together. We've been to Sweden. Like we've traveled North America together. Our kids have grown up together, and so. And when I got laid off, like it was during COVID, which was also really not helpful.
Yeah, no. Not having a hard enough time here,
Right?
Yeah.
Like so they came over, we'd sit in my garage and we'd share beers and
Socially
stuff.
distanced beers.
So it was him, Kyle Bukoskis, and a producer from TSN. They took extremely good care of me. Like I will never really, not if I'll badmouth Mendez occasionally, but not as much as I could. Yeah. So like I didn't expect anything when he took over, or even like Sly, and I've known Sly for 20 years as well. We've traveled around. I didn't know what to expect, but Mendes like, yeah, like we'll give you full accreditation.
Yep.
Now, it's different because the Toronto Maple Leafs, they don't do that, or they didn't. And I will say, like, my really good friend is the PR guy for the Leafs.
Yeah.
And so we would have conversations. I'm like, well, like, why won't
Tell him
you
to
do
answer my
this?
emails.
Or how do you see it from your vantage point?
Sure.
And so he's like, yeah, like we don't know what podcasts are going to say. Like one day you could be F-bombing everybody, and like,
it's
so I get that.
unpredictable, yeah.
So Mendez understood that I was still like that reporter guy. We were never going to go after players or sabotage them. And before they even took over, I was getting all the players on our show because of who I had built a rapport with before. And even some guys I didn't know, we just reach out to them like, yeah, we know who you are. We know what you're about.
Right.
Like but I could never release the names. So I would always show like tomorrow, special guest. Because if I told them, the Sens would
The
cancel.
advance warning
They would
would
cancel
kill you.
the
Yeah,
interview.
okay.
So that went on for years. And so when Mendes took over,
I'm surprised there was never just like a blanket that at the beginning of the year they just tell other people you can't do these shows. Or
so
that's-
players are allowed to have their own brand now, which is
that I guess that's right,
the
yeah.
big part where they're like, yeah, like it's not a bad idea to do these shows. And I'll give you an example. Alex Degg, who we all remember, he just had his documentary come out, but just before it got released, we had him on the show, and he's a really good friend of Jason York's, which is why. And he had never done anything beforehand. And so he comes on. He's now full-time at TVA because he did our podcast and they saw his work.
Wow.
So, like people
You never know where it gets
right?
seen, right? Like,
So that's the thing. Like people don't understand the power that you can sometimes have or whatever. So players see that perhaps building their brand, like players some are getting paid to be guest hosts or guest spots on podcasts now.
Yeah.
So there's stuff out there. Anyway, so when they took over, I was like, I just felt that I didn't have to hide it anymore. But then Mendez is like, you can come into our locker room, have full accreditation. And it's still weird for me. Like I'm uncomfortable, despite being there for 22 years, whatever. I am uncomfortable in that room still because I get thought of as like I've heard people like, you're the blogger. I'm like, I don't even write anything. Like, I'm not a blogger. Like, so
yeah,
they don't really want me in there because they feel threatened. But the problem is there's no media covering the team anymore.
right.
So this year they will not have a full-time media person traveling on the road to cover this team.
Even the radio broadcast is being
Right?
left
So-
at home. Yeah.
So we're traveling this year, which irritates people because they're like, oh, how do you
Really?
Yeah, like I have a budget
Yeah.
due to our sponsors to travel the entire year. I can't because of some things are scheduled and I just can't. But if I want to do these games, I can. Like I will fly to Florida this week. I'm doing the first 2 games on the road.
Wow.
But people continue to go, oh, that new media
That
guy.
minor league podcast thing.
And
they
so
don't,
but we bring something different and Sens fans deserve to have as much content as they can. They're great in our community. They love our show. I love dealing with them. And now the Sens understand the importance that A, we need more media, and B, like those shows help give insight into who these players are.
and it's a safe place, right? Like you have 20 years or whatever it is
Yeah.
of credibility behind you, right?
So-
Yorkie is a former player. He's not going to come on and just bury other players.
Right. And so we're fair and factual, which
Yeah.
is what we've always said
Sure.
we were. And like, will I ever go after a player and go, he's the worst thing to ever put on skates? No. Like, we'll say, like, he's struggling to play.
yeah, of
Like,
course. You got to be credible to your
why-
audience too.
But why would I ever, why would I ever go after somebody? You can still say they're struggling or they're not playing well without really personally attack. We'll never personally attack a player.
Right.
Ever.
It's funny. We were talking last year sometime, I can't remember, about this new approach with Sly and Mendez being more open to new media, if we're
Yeah.
going to stick with that term.
Yeah.
And one of the replies we got in our social media was, oh, I see everybody's invited except TCA. And I kind of laughed. I was like, well, that is kind of funny. And so when Mendez was in here and he's like, well, you've never asked. And we had a discussion. Like for our show, I'm not interested in interviewing players unless one of them has like an affinity for craft beer or something that we could be interested in together or whatever. It's more of a, like we're a different type of show or whatever. But Mendez said to me when he was in here, just as a placeholder for when the Sens play a random team, we kept mentioning St. Louis. And so he said to me afterwards, he's like, why don't you come in, visit the press box when the Blues are in town? Just, again, as the placeholder for random night. And I said, can I come when the Leafs are in town? I'll wear my jersey. He's like, yeah, no, probably not, I guess. But it's really refreshing to see that I knew all along once Mendez took, if there was ever a reason to do it, I could at least shoot him a text and be heard, right? Whereas before that door was closed completely. Yeah. That's all that mattered.
But you bring up a very good point, and I hope you don't take this the wrong way. You just like, I want to wear my Leafs jersey. And I know it's in jest.
Of course.
I get it. But that's the problem with allowing some members of
100%.
the new media in. And so
you're a fan. You're not objective.
So they did this one year. I think it's 2007. It's Sidney Crosby. I'm pretty sure his first year in the playoffs. They're in Ottawa. They lose, if I'm not mistaken.
The Sens or the Pens?
The Pens.
Okay.
We're in the Penguins locker room. They've allowed now these new media people.
We're giving it a try. Yeah.
And at the end, one of them says, hey, Sid, do you have anything I could have, like a hat or something? And I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Get out of here, man.
So that's the juggling act of what do you allow in. And we're as far as I can tell right now, we're the only podcast in hockey, at least in the country, that has full accreditation.
Regular, full, all-season accreditation.
That has access to any member of the management or players to have on the show. Like, we're very, very fortunate of what we do. And
even in that moment, like I will take him up on his invite. Like just as a media guy who's in, I'll go to the press box one night, check out a game. I probably won't go to the locker room. Like that doesn't.
It's not your thing.
No, it's not really what we do.
No.
But the experience would be fascinating. But I'm not an idiot. You dress properly. You don't ask for merch. You don't whatever. Right? Like it's just, like I said, it's good to know the door is open for at least being considered.
Right?
Now,
Because
right?
you have to. Like you can't just dismiss.
There's a new ways of reaching people.
Yes, and I'm trying to think like the number of people. Like there are countless podcasts, and I know not everybody gets the same kind of treatment, but you can't discount this wave of media.
Yeah.
or a medium of media.
Right.
Right? Like it is a
great YouTube
it's a
channels
legit,
out there.
It's
There are
viable.
great writers out there now. That's how Graham Nichols gets his foot in the door is his writing, right?
I don't know. Like I'm fortunate enough, it pays my bills. Like this isn't some little hobby on the weekend.
Right.
So just like you, like the amount of gear you have, this is the best podcast setup I've ever seen in my life.
But I went to radio school and I was kind of a nerd for the tech. And so we started with one USB Blue Yeti microphone in the middle of a dining room table.
And I don't know where that mic is now.
And eventually you just build it up and build it up.
So it's funny. Like this year, I invested over. But my little wife isn't listening. Over 15 grand. Brand new DLSR mirrorless camera. All the lenses. Like it's all professional, high end. All the equipment, just to like a brand new laptop that allows me to cut video enough. Like,
well, our buddy Nichols said he sent me a message. He goes, Wally's wanting us to step up our game a little bit. Do you have any advice on mics and interfaces and stuff?
I'm like, Graham, could you turn the light on at least? Like, gosh. Yeah, I've got to go over. Anyway, so he doesn't understand the technical side, but we're getting there. Yeah. So he's got a new mic. I'm very excited.
Sure.
The other day, I'm like, he sits down and he's like Casper the Ghost. And we're into the show. So the show's live. So it's harder to do a lot of stuff. Like,
yes.
I can't go, Graham, can you turn your light? I'm trying to be professional.
No,
so
I get it.
I sent him we have a chat on our software.
Yeah.
I'm like, is your light on? And all of a sudden I see him click the light on and boom. I'm like, he's like, I just sat down. I'm like, can you not tell that there's no light in your face? But we back to I've spent thousands to try and make sure that I am as professional as anybody else.
Yeah.
So I can compete in the same environment as anybody else.
We've never really gotten anywhere or really even tried to with the video side of it. Now I know that's where it's going and eventually we may have to do that. But for me, that was one of the other things. Like we don't have 20 years of reputation like you did or Jason York who played in the league. So what are the things we can do to stand out? And it was just, we can sound better, right? Like we can at least start to address that side of thing and invest in the show that way and make it, hopefully, if the takes are no good, at least the audio quality will be good.
Okay,
right?
So here's a dumb question then, Matt. I feel like I'm taking this off the rails.
Yeah.
That's typical in our show.
And here.
It's like, why not stick a camera right here?
And we could, right? It's just it's one more step, right? Like it's to edit.
But it's not that hard. I shouldn't but I will tell you will reach
100%. YouTube is where this is all going.
Yeah.
You're going to have to be there.
And probably part of the problem. I'm a TV guy,
and this is it. I've always just been.
Right?
I went to radio broadcast school.
I never wanted to do radio ever.
Yeah. See, that's all I ever wanted to do.
So
and now these things are coming together.
Yeah,
you almost have to be everywhere.
But you see, look what TV's done. Sports in particular, with this radio. They just taken radio. It's a great filler in the afternoons.
How many different sports bars would you walk into and see Bob McCown's face on TV? And you can't hear him. It's a radio show on TV with no audio.
And it makes them money, and they don't have to invest in it very much. It's simple, but everybody they watch.
We are going to end up having to go there. It's just something I've dreaded. I'm a face for radio guy. I've always been an audio guy.
It's okay. We still put him on too.
You've been hanging around training camp down there. I'm a little curious if there's been noticeable differences in the...
Can we pause for a second?
Yeah, of course.
I really like this beer, and we haven't discussed the beers.
Oh, yeah, okay. You're enjoying that one.
The
evening edition, dark lager from Beyond the Pale. Yeah. And like you said, it is unusual to have a dark lager that's also a light lager.
That's why I was I was intrigued as to what this is.
Because often dark can mean strong, stout, porter kind of stuff.
And I'm not a Guinness guy.
Yeah.
Although I believe my tastes have changed enough where I should be actually consuming it. But this is like I would pour these all night.
It's got, like you said, it's still a light enough body that it doesn't feel overpowering. I've had that one a bunch of times. I like it when you're just trying to coast. Like, again, this one also over here is only 4.4%, but some of the IPAs that roll in here are like 8.5% or whatever else, and that's not something you're going to sit down and have 6 of on it.
It's so heavy. It's so heavy. Anyway.
Yeah.
Back to the Sens.
Yeah, no, this one's nice as well. The pumpkin spice thing, it's funny. I love coffee stouts and espresso porters and this and that. I don't drink coffee or espressos. I don't like hot beverages at all.
No,
and yet, so
you and Mendez.
Yeah, and so this is treating me well. Although Mendez, when he comes in here, I have to have Michelob Ultra, or he's not going to have a pint at all. Although he did come over, we had our 10th anniversary thing there back in May. I was surprised he showed up, but he did try. We had a 10% black IPA that was we brewed with the Nita Beer Company to celebrate the. He tried it. Yeah.
Here's the thing about Mendez I will never to this day believe I witnessed, and I still have I struggle thinking that this actually happened because he's such a lightweight beer guy.
100%.
It is. We are in New York City. I believe it's the lockout, and we spent so much time together standing on street corners. Wild. In fact, I don't know if he told you the story. One day we just went to Chelsea Pier.
No, he didn't.
I will get to that in a second.
Okay.
So one night we're at some bar, and I still don't know. I will never be able to tell you where this bar is. Excuse me. And he just pounds back like scotch or whiskey. I think he had 10. And then he just like, see you guys, going back to my hotel.
Yep.
I'm like, how are you walking? And then he tells me he's drinking this Michelob Ultra. I'm like, who? You
What's
can't be the
happened to
same
you?
person.
Yeah.
And you don't even drink coffee. Like, I don't know who he is.
Yeah.
Anyway. So one day,
This is during one of the lockouts.
so this is 0405.
Okay.
Make sure this is right.
Well, it's hard, right? Gary's got a bunch of them. It's hard to keep track which lockout is which.
Maybe, no, was this 1213? Damn it, I did them both. I'm going to go with 0405.
All right.
No, changed my mind because the 1213 was more in the spring. It ended, did they start in January?
They started in January in 13.
No, damn it, then it's got to be 0405.
And then it was 4-1.
So it was
for
the
Leafs
summertime.
in Game 7.
Summertime 0405.
And then it wasn't.
Yes. Well, I'm just trying to get
Right
all
over
references of the Leafs. So 0405, and every day you stand on the street corner. Now, and we would wait thinking.
For what? Bob Goodenow might walk out here?
Exactly.
Or, yeah.
So this is how dumb this is. But they're paying us. So
Sure, why not?
So we stand, and in New York, you can only stand like 6 feet off the curb because the building owns the sidewalk rights.
yes.
So they would have security walk out and make sure we stayed
Step back, you Canadians.
Good Lord. So every day we would just wait. Nothing ever would happen. No. We'd go to Obampan, get a coffee, and sit there for a minute and come back. Anyway. One day it was so cold we rented a taxi just to sit there. I think it was $300.
Just to sit in the back seat.
Yeah, because we got to be there. So
wow.
So anyway, day after day,
the glory of working in sports TV, everybody.
Right, and everybody would tell us like either the PA, like no one's talking today. We're like, okay, all right. So day after day, and then one day Gary walks out at lunch. He's like, hey guys, and I quite like Gary Bettman.
Okay.
But I've been around him enough. Like people think that he's this anti-Canadian, which isn't true at all.
No,
like,
I don't believe he's anti-Canadian. I just find him smug. That's all.
But he's a New York lawyer.
Yeah,
like,
well, I guess.
But
so,
I've been in a Vegas nightclub when he's in jeans, sitting on the top of a couch drinking beer. Like there's a different side to Gary.
Sure. When he lets his hair down.
Yeah, like he's a
all right.
For a
You've
really
met
rich
him. I
guy,
haven't. What
he's
am I
a
gonna
fairly
say?
normal guy.
All right.
But keep in mind he's in a whole different tax.
Oh yeah.
He makes like $7 million a year
Yep.
or something. Okay. So he comes in and goes, nothing's going on today. We're like, all right. So we're Dave, Joe, and my camera guy, I and Ian, and his camera guy. Although his camera guy is from Toronto. So the three of us.
This is, again, to pull the curtain back for people who don't get sports media, this is the guy covering it for TSN and the guy covering it for Sportsnet. Just hanging out together and, the cutthroat business of sports media.
So it's weird. Like I'm going to get sidetracked. In our industry, my colleagues are my competitors.
Yep.
So all my friends are like Ian Mendez and Gord and Dean, like all competitors. That's who ends up being who we work with.
Of course, yeah.
So we end up, it's weird. It's a really weird dynamic. And for me, all my people I knew and worked with, if you will, because I'm the only guy, the TSN guy in the city, is when I travel to other cities, when you meet all the other media people, those are the people that I would hang out with.
Sure.
So when I got laid off, I lost all those people that I would see on regular
Contacts. Yeah.
Okay, so back to this day.
Sure.
Nothing going on, guys. I'm like, okay. So Mendez and I and Dave decide that we're going to go over to Chelsea Pier and go bowling.
As one does in Manhattan.
Because we're like, if we all say nothing, then nothing happened, right?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so we're all in this together. So we head on over.
To the lucky lanes.
Yeah, I'm like, this is great. And we're all bowling. We bought socks because none of us were prepared for this day. I can just picture us like running around like cotton candy floating, like, one of those stupid movie musicals. We had a great time. On the way back, we passed by the Church of Scientology. And Dave and I are smart enough to know you just keep walking. But Mendez stops. And now I think he's about to be abducted. And at that point, I'm like, you're on your own, Mendez. You know that you don't have to talk to everybody. And we kept walking. So eventually, we find out he's okay. But I'm like, that's on you. Like, fully on you. You do not stop by the Church of Scientology and ask
You're
for like
about to
a
be in
pamphlet.
a South Park episode.
No. So that was our Chelsea Pier day. Like, it's one of the.
I thought you were going to say this was his way of slipping away. He had a little story that he could file and screw you guys over.
No, we never. And that was the thing. Like, you never really try to. You try to have your own story, but you never really try to screw the other guy over. Which, so we were.
There must have been a moment at some point. Take me inside the business, and it doesn't have to be the story where something, whether it's the lockout or the Sens, that not everybody knows.
Yeah.
Are you trying to get that filed first, or are you whispering to a buddy going, hey, you should talk to so-and-so, or you should...
No, you'd never tell. No, okay. You'd just do the story.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you'd see what would happen, and see if they caught on or whatever.
Such and such trade is coming or whatever.
But to be honest with you, at the reporter level, it doesn't happen that often. So when I found out like they were going to ask Wade Redden to waive his no-trade clause the next day, I told Darren Dreger, because I'm like, I don't want to have to deal with Brian Murray.
Right, you go into the locker room every day.
So you can deal with this.
Big national guy who doesn't have to be here.
So
that makes sense. Okay.
So anyway. I'm not sure. I feel like I've veered this thing into a steep cliff that I don't know where we're supposed to be at.
Well,
we started with training camp, but I don't know how we got to Chelsea Pier. But Mendez is a drunk. That's basically what we've come up with.
And God love him for it, because he's never shown that side of him in here anyway.
Just cut that clip and send it to him.
I will do nothing but that. No context. Just Mendez.
You won't believe what Brent just said about you.
So I'm just curious about the difference in vibes between last year's camp and this year's camp. With a new coach in place last year, there's a lot of learning about what his expectations might be, and maybe the guys are trying to make a good impression. Now, this wasn't an overly busy offseason for the Sens, so the guys all know each other. The coach knows them. I'm just sort of curious, at the same time that maybe you'd be letting your guard down a little bit about, this guy knows me and I'm just going through training camp. There's also a vibe of we're trying to establish ourselves this year as a regular playoff team. We made it last year.
The expectations. Yep.
Yeah. Has there been a noticeable difference for you year over year?
So it's funny. And it's funny that you can ask two people who watch the same practice and you'll get different answers. Because I've heard some people say, oh, this is like super exciting. Everybody's pumped. Practice, training camp has been ecstatic. And I'm like, it's just another practice. They look like they're
late in training camp, going through.
They just look like the same team that ended the year. Like it's a very, I'll say, mature team, very methodical, like very businesslike is what I should be getting to. There's no like, oh, win it for the Gipper type. Like it's just very businesslike, and I think that comes with maturing, with knowing that Travis Green, understanding how this all plays out. I don't find it as it's not as, I guess, as exciting as last year because everything was new.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of new faces. This year it's just, okay, this is what we got to do to get us into the next round. So let's just get to it's just work. And that's not a negative.
No.
I think it's actually, if anything, it's a positive.
Get ready,
They just want to put the work in to get the job done.
What did you make of the Quebec City experiment? From the moment it was announced, it felt fraught. There's been lots of talk about the split jersey thing and whether there was going to be regular season games and this and that. But now that we've seen the preseason of it all, it does look like, certainly during the Montreal game, that was overrun with Montreal fans.
So
was it worthwhile?
I wish I knew everything behind the scenes. Because so it's easy for us to say, like, why would you bring in Montreal? This is stupid, which I still think is stupid. But maybe there's a reason that they couldn't bring somebody else in. Or, sorry, if I'm not mistaken, the promoter said you had to bring Montreal in to sell the tickets.
Sure.
What do you expect to have happen?
Yeah.
Like, if you were to go to Kingston, I think you would find that it would be multi-blue everywhere, right? Like,
yeah.
And I understand that's still an Ottawa market, but there's an awful lot of Leaf fans that live just 2 hours.
Well, I went to Loyalist Radio in Belleville, and even right there, it was almost split right down the center of town. Right,
so,
like it was.
So I like. Okay, let me get back to Montreal. So the beginning, I was there for 4 days. I didn't feel this big sense of excitement that the Ottawa Senators were in town.
Right.
I didn't see anything that's like, oh, here's the Sens. The only thing I saw was when they were in the parking lot or the stickers on the door. The New Jersey game was a debacle, which I think they should have. And again, I don't know behind the scenes. So I think that New Jersey should have almost promised, or there should have been a discussion about the lineup you were going to bring if you want to sell tickets. They iced.
Like so many teams do, right? On the road in the preseason.
Just like Ottawa against St. Louis. It just wasn't a very good lineup.
Yeah.
So that's an issue. But you're 5 hours away from the market in a different province with the other team that you think everybody hates, it still really likes, and is a very storied franchise, is 2 hours away.
Yeah.
I understand. So I understand they want to grow the fan base. I understand they have numbers that say that a lot of people in Quebec watch the Ottawa Senators play. I get it. That doesn't necessarily translate into fans. The issue I have is you now need to do this every year. You can't do it one-off and think you're going to grow the fan base. No. So you have to go year after year after year. Now you only allowed 4 preseason games. So let's say you got 2 home games. Are you going to go every year for 1 preseason home game in hopes of building that?
Because there was already some grumbling this year that
there was only 1.
Yeah.
So,
and it was an afternoon game, the first home game of the preseason.
And I know people say they hate preseason, but you take the preseason away and suddenly everybody loves the preseason. Sure, and I know there are people that can only afford to go to preseasons. So I don't begrudge them wanting to see their team in Ottawa. I don't know how you're going to grow the fan base in Quebec City without moving heaven and earth to try to get them to come over.
It just feels too late, doesn't it?
It's
like if you'd have done this in 98 or 2000, try and grab a piece of it.
And to say that, like, I'm going to take some heat for it, but to say that, we're trying to win over the fan base of Quebec City, it means that, well, we ignored you for a really long time, and we think that you should just come cheer for us. How about you play the game in Gatineau?
I was just going to say, like, let's stay in your region.
Let's take care of those
grab
fans.
Quebec there.
The number of people that email our show and that win prizes on our show that live in Gatineau, I feel like it's 50%. It is a large number that are in Gatineau that are Sens fans, and I think that we need to start to take care of it.
If you had a scrimmage there or a preseason there at Slush Puppy, or
it was hyped last year. They did a preseason scrimmage there, or a black and white game. It was fucking great. People loved it. It was full. I know it only seats like 4,000, 5,000 people. Okay, but take the hit on ticket sales to grow the fan base.
And make the statement, we're here in Gatineau. We care about this.
Anyway, it's easy to sit here and criticize
Of course.
them.
It was worth a shot, I guess.
I appreciate the effort.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that...
But now they're in a tough spot. Like you said, do you double down and keep going, or do you go... that didn't work, and come back home? And like you said, fewer preseason games now moving forward. You got less inventory to play with. It's
I feel bad for it because listen, take a swing and you hope that
this is it.
You make
it's worth
a hit,
shot.
but not everything pans out, and I don't think that this is the answer.
Last thing for you then, as we kind of wind down. I know you got a Red Blacks game to get to. They keep you busy here. Right?
Listen, I have not even done this beer, so keep going.
What do you make of the division this year? Because this is what we've all been talking about.
Okay, Matt.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
You've got 5 teams that made the playoffs last year from this division. It is arguably the toughest division in hockey.
Yep.
And
right there with the Central. That's about it for me.
Yeah, but so here's the thing. Now you've got Barkov and Tkachuk out. You've got the Mitch Marner-less Leafs, if you will, and Joseph Woll
on leave. Yep.
Right? We don't know when he's coming back.
Nope.
You've got
Reimer, though. It's going to be fine.
I know James Reimer really well.
Yeah.
I have a story about him.
Okay.
My son has a jersey hanging in his closet of James Reimer.
Oh, is your son a Leaf guy?
No.
Oh.
But his godfather is the PR guy for the Leafs.
Wow, that is a close relationship.
So,
we're going to talk about that off the air later.
So, you've got Tampa, which is Tampa, but Tampa's they're aging. I just wonder when, if ever, the fall off is. It has to happen at some point.
They finished the year on fire last year.
I know,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But you don't know if Andrei Vasilevsky.
No, we don't know.
There's questions. There's just questions.
Yep.
Then you got Montreal that could be really, really good. They've got a ton of talent.
I think they arrived early, but
Can they defend?
Right.
Is the question
Yep.
I have.
Yep.
Then you got Ottawa, which here's the thing. I think they could either finish second or out of the playoffs
Wow.
because you don't know what you're going to get with Ottawa. Just gave up, and I understand it's a preseason.
Yep.
They just gave up 13 goals in 2 games. I understand the lineups,
Yep.
but let's go back to last year. They struggled to score goals. They've scored 3 goals in the last 3
They're not
games.
31st in 5-on-5 goals,
Yes.
32nd in 5 or
So
something like that. Yeah.
there are questions about Ottawa, and now they're going to start probably without Drake Batherson. They're going to get Jensen and Eller back, I think, for Saturday's game in Montreal. We'll see if that's the case. There's questions. Tyler Clevin is still out.
Yeah.
They're not a really deep team. There's not a lot there. So if they suffer an injury, I'm thinking like to one of their key stars,
Yeah.
maybe this isn't going to be the way that this season unfolds that they want him to. Like Linus Ullmark is still a question mark. He's never played 50 games. You don't know. Like sometimes
Yeah,
it
like
can be
it took
a little
Maryland to
bit-
save their year last year when he went down.
and he hasn't looked
briefly,
very
yeah.
good in the
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
So there's all I'm saying
always
is there's questions.
Yep.
Which is why you play the games.
100%.
And I don't think Boston ever thought that they would end up where they were last year, or like Buffalo thinks every year that they're going to be good.
Yeah.
Like,
I do expect Detroit to be a bit better. The conversation we had.
why?
I just, to me, they have enough pieces on their roster that you can still expect some internal growth from. And I normally hate that phrase. But like to me, the Sens have, I wouldn't say maxed out, but the years where Stützle and Sanderson are taking massive leaps every year, I think those are gone. I think they can still be better.
No. So I will say Jake Sanderson.
I think Sanderson still has. He came a couple years later, right after coming out of university, or a year later, or whatever. I do think Sanderson can continue to improve, but
He's a stupidly good hockey
Yeah.
player. I think Tim Stützle gets back to like he looks this year. So that man strength is there,
Right.
That like there's nobody I think outside of Claude Giroux that wants to win more on that team than Tim. I think he has a monster year, and he's really tired of being talked to about shooting the puck.
my Monday co-host every week, Rob, he and I have debated this a few times. He's a huge Sens fan. What is the ceiling and the floor for the Sens if Dylan Cousins doesn't turn out to be a reliable 2C? Like Stützle is still every bit what we think he's going to be. Yeah. Sanderson is still everything we think he's going to be. But if the Cousins thing doesn't quite work, to me, it might be right where they're at. Like if he's not any better, if Cousins isn't any better, I'm not sure they can take another step forward.
Okay, I'm going to put this to you.
Yeah.
Oh, great Leaf guy.
I can live with that title.
What if Dylan Cousins is your third line center?
This is what I've been pushing for. I like Shane Pinto a lot.
So I'm not concerned about Dylan Cousins to be a 25 goal scorer or whatever. Because I think by the end of the year, Shane Pinto is the second line center.
I don't shy away from that. I think he's got every chance of taking another big step,
Right.
Pinto. And
So if you move like Dylan Cousins down, and I don't think it's a negative, he's still a great penalty killer.
Mm-hmm.
Like he has no issues on the defensive side of the game. I mean, he's not as good as Shane.
Sure.
But if you can have that guy as your third line center, who's big, strong, physical, I don't know that you're like losing that much.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you go Stützle, Pinto, Cousins, Eller down the middle,
Yeah.
I think it's the strength of your team.
Sure. But now you're a little messed up. Like I don't want Batherson checking with Pinto, right? Like that's now not a great matchup line.
No, well, not necessarily. But if you have Well, I'll put Fabian Zetterlund on that line for now with Batherson and Shane Pinto.
Yeah.
And I think you can whatever. Let's just stay there.
Sure.
I think if you have Pinto and Zetterlund as your defensive conscience on that line, Drake Batherson's allowed to do what he wants. Who I think, by the way, has the best hands of anybody on that team.
So, yeah, for me, the conversation we had here was I think Tampa wins the division. I think Toronto's a little worse than last year, maybe significantly worse, but I don't think they're going off a cliff. I think Florida...
Okay, Brian Burke.
They're truculent enough now with Berube. I think Florida, even before the Barkov injury, was probably just like, yeah, we don't care. We'll finish wherever.
And then
No, they don't.
They're just like, you know what? We got to win today? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We'll win today.
So this was it. I always thought they would roll into third just because, they've been on some long playoff runs. Now with Barkov, that might be a little more out of their hands. I still think, and then I think it gets really mushy. I think Montreal, Ottawa, Detroit are all going to be right there, right? Like in this kind of, and I'm with you. I think it's 5 and 3. 5 coming out of the Atlantic.
Yeah,
but I don't know which
where they land.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah.
Your Detroit synopsis to me doesn't make any sense.
Okay,
with all due respect, which is never respectful when you say that. I don't see Detroit. I don't know.
Is none.
I don't know. I know they got John Gibson in goal. I don't see the development from that group enough. But prove me wrong. And Montreal is an intrigue to me. Like
they could also fall right out.
They're
like
fun
they
to watch. Yes, but they're fun to watch.
Yep.
Montembeault, I don't know if he gets enough credit or if sometimes he gets too much. I can't
maybe?
tell. But if he's on the Team Canada radar, then maybe he's not as bad as people want to make out. So I can see Ottawa. So if I were in a perfect scenario, I would go Toronto, Ottawa, Florida, Tampa, Montreal.
You got Tampa in fourth.
Something that
Hedman and McDonough are getting old, and you're right. If Vasilevsky's got something going on, that's a big red.
Yeah. I'm still mad at Victor Hedman from his draft year. I have a signed Moto golf ball from Victor Hedman.
Okay.
So I do the World Championships in Switzerland. They go, hey, you're going to fly to Sweden and you're going to talk to Victor Hedman, who's about to be drafted. And I'm like, okay. And then they're like, it's all set up. You're going to go talk to his teacher in high school. You're going to go see his parents. You're going to talk to his brother. And I'm like, okay, great. This sounds fun. So we get there and we land, drive to the house. Nobody's there. And I'm like, well, okay. And so we get a hold of
suburban.
And it's in Ovik,
Stockholm.
It's in Ovik, Sweden, which is way north.
Okay.
Örnsköldsvik, it's like the famous moto hockey team, but the Sedin twins, Peter Forsberg, there's a lot of hockey talents going on there. And for whatever reason, I convinced myself to walk around to the back of the house. I've never been to Sweden. I'm going to get shot. Anyway,
meet the Hedman Rottweiler.
So the dad is sitting there eating his lunch. And I'm like, hi, Mr. Hedman, excuse me. He's like, I had no idea you were coming. Very nice, man. And I'm like, okay. So they get a hold of Victor. And Victor goes, I didn't tell anybody.
I forgot.
So we go to pick him up from school. We go to moto practice because he's skating with moto. And I'm now in the, within 40 minutes, I'm now in the locker room as they get ready. I don't know anything. The coach is like, hey, come on in. And so we eventually do a sit down with Victor and his parents, but no teacher, nothing, no coach of it. He's like, yeah, sorry about that.
Whoops.
I'm like, okay. Anyway, so we've always gotten along ever since. And he's a hell of a hockey player. If you had to redraft, do you take Tavares or Victor Hedman? And I think you take Victor Hedman all day long at number one.
It's a lot more interesting than it was at the time, that question, I would say. That it's not like Tavares has had a bad...
No, he's arguably a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
But Victor Hedman is a two-time Stanley Cup champion.
Right, yeah.
He's a Norris Trophy winner.
Yep.
You win with your D. He's been a stud, even for Sweden. And he said to me, and I've never forgotten, he's like, I think I should go number one. And I'm like, the Canadian's going to go number one, you crazy.
Well, especially at the time, Tavares was going to be the next. Yeah.
And he's always thought that he should have gone number one.
Well, and now, like you say, with the benefit of hindsight, it's not a crazy opinion, right? And I do remember that was one of those weird drafts where it feels like you're trying to create intrigue where there is none.
Yeah.
Like maybe
Yeah.
he will go for, maybe Duchesne will pass them both and
Right.
go for, and you're like, it was always going to be Tavares. It's been,
Always
we get
Tavares. Yeah, yeah.
bored for 2 years talking about this. So now we start
Yes.
talking about, is it somebody else? And,
Yes. So then back to my James Reimer.
Sure. Yeah.
We're at the World Championships.
He likes it here in Ottawa.
It might, he does. Might even been the same year. And we do training camp in Paris and then in Prague. Like it was an amazing training camp, and I'm like, this is the life. So it's I think it's maybe 2014. Only reason I know that is because I took my wife 2013. I took my wife for her 10-year anniversand, but I just did it like 6 months earlier. And then she still wanted another gift.
Of course.
So I didn't win this at all. And so I took my camera and I was just taking pictures at Team Canada practice because you're the only media member there at the time.
Yeah.
And I said to James, like, I got some pics for you.
Are you suggesting the Leafs were done early enough in the year?
Well,
for
he
him
was
to go
there.
to World
That's all I can tell you.
Yeah.
So Luke Shen was there.
Of course he was. Matt
And if I'm
Stajan
not
probably.
mistaken, like that's the same year that Dion Phaneuf was there.
Okay.
And I remember calling Dion Phaneuf like Luke. I said, thanks, Luke, at the end of an interview. And he just glared at me.
New Luke.
So I said, I'll get you these pictures. And he's like, yeah, sure, okay. So I on a USB drive, give him the pictures. And it's like a few days have gone by, whatever, and he hasn't said anything. I'm like, hey, you see those pictures? And he's like, no, I'll check them tonight. I'm like, okay. He comes back to me the next day. He goes, hey, thanks a lot. Those are great. And I'm like, what did you think? And he's like, I thought they were of your vacation. I'm like, well, why am I giving you pictures of my vacation? Anyway, so we've all like, and I know he's dealt, like he had the, I'll say the anti-pride stuff, jersey, whatever. Like I understand, but I really like him. Like he and I get along extremely well, and so that's where some of this problems of publicly, like you can't always go, I really like that guy. And like you're an idiot. Like what do you? So.
This has been a tough one for me. I loved Reimer. When he first came up, the Leafs were awful. And in 2013, when they did get into the playoffs, it was all on his back.
Yeah.
And they, for whatever reason, blamed him at the end. And it was an easy. And so I'll be honest with you, I was bummed out when I saw that he wouldn't wear the pride thing with the Sharks. That upset me a bit, and I was disappointed. It's not like I hate that guy. I do understand it comes from a religious place, and we can disagree on these things. But there's another universe. There's an alternate universe where I hear he's on a PTO with the Leafs, and I'm excited about it. And now it's more just like it's business. He's just another guy back in the fold. I don't hate him. I don't whatever. It's just. It bummed me out is the best way to say it.
I felt the same. I almost sent him a text just to try and talk to him a bit. And it's always the case of never meet your heroes.
Yep.
But I still I don't change that I still like him as a person.
Sure.
Because he and I get along, we don't sit and have political discussions. We had a discussion one time whether he should go in the lines at Disney or get the fast pass or book a VIP.
Sure.
I'm like, you got the money, use the VIP. He's like, I don't know. So, you can still have those conversations. Like, I have good friends that are completely opposite in the spectrum politically.
Yeah.
But I can still be friends with them. I think we can never want to just accept people for who they are. And there's lots of things to not accept people for who they are, but you're allowed to believe sometimes what you want without it being if you believe you can murder everybody, that's obviously, but if you believe for whatever reason,
I don't believe James Reimer hates gay people. Right. I was disappointed in what happened. I don't believe it comes from a place, but it was still disappointing to me.
I know.
And that's,
and so he could have not said anything.
Yeah.
But then
you're still going to be the only one not wearing the thing. And this is obviously why the league took the step they did. Now we just won't center out anybody, and no one's allowed to do it. And you're like, that's not better.
That doesn't help. No. So I can tell you, it's the NHL players are probably 80% like a Republican conservative.
When you make that kind of
type.
Money,
right? Because they just want to keep their money.
Yeah.
And the Republicans or the conservative side is all about trying to help you save your money.
Yep. Tax cuts and
so. That, but I still like these people, even if you have differing views. I just can't cut you off.
Sure.
And so, anyway, I'm way off a topic, but my point was, I still if I saw James Reimer tomorrow, would still have a chat with him.
I'm not going to shun the guy.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't have opened that can of worms.
Well, these are the kind of conversations that are worth having sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes,
like, anyway. But I just wish people would stop being so divisive in the world. Like, it can't always just be this one side or the other. Like, we can actually have conversations.
And it's hard, right? Like I said, there was another world where I'm excited James Reimer is on a PTO with the Leafs, and now it's more just, And again, I don't hate it. I'm like, don't bring that guy into my organization. It's nothing like that. It's just, you know.
Right.
It is what it is. He's, at this point, a competent third string or backup goalie, and we'll see what happens. But as a younger fan, loved that guy as a
he was
backstop in a bad
especially in
team
Ottawa.
for a long,
Like,
this is it.
Jesus, do you have to win every time? Yeah.
What can you tell us about what's coming up on coming in hot here over the next little while? Okay.
We fly by the seat of our pants.
Okay, you're off to Florida. That sounds harsh. That's a tough gig.
We'll try to. We'll see how it works technically. We'll try to do some shows as I'm on location. But I try to bring on guests at the time that are topical at the moment.
Yeah.
And sometimes you line them up and different things happen and whatever. But for the most part, we try to go like, if Drake Batherson had a hat trick, like, when's the next time I can get him on right away? Yeah. So people are always like, well, you must have your guests lined up like weeks in advance. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what time our show is on Monday. So no. It used to stress me out. I would lose sleep over not having it lined up. Mm-hmm. And now I'm like, so one of the reasons having three people is when you have three people, you don't have to worry.
Right.
Would I love to have a guest every time? Sure, but people have busy lives. They can't always make it work. So we try as best we can to have guests. And then just sometimes we just like to talk hockey because if it's night after a game, you just want to shoot the ship. But we always try to have somebody coming on.
Yeah, like even around here, a little smaller time, but every Monday it's me and my co-host Rob. It's the week that was, right? What are the headlines? What happened over the weekend? And that's that. And there are weeks where we record that, and I have nothing to tee up for Wednesday or Thursday,
right?
And yet,
how do you feel
on
about
Tuesday?
That?
It does still a little bit stress me out if nothing's coming up, but sometimes
it works out, right?
Usually something will fall in your lap on Tuesday and be like, oh yeah, let's do that. Let's talk to that guy. Let's see what that's all about.
Well, that's exactly like, and usually it just works out. But my mood changes drastically if I have guests lined up or not.
Just more calm.
Because I don't stress about the show. Like I know that we're gonna Now I'm like, where is the guest?
Well, it's harder in the summer for me. Like, there's nothing happening. I
love it.
By the end of July, I don't want to talk Red Blacks anymore. They're terrible. Last year, the Jays were awful. I'm like, how am I going to get through the rest of August?
Well, our first 3 years of doing the show, they were a terrible hockey team. But I always said, before that, when I shouldn't have maybe joked about job security, but I used to say, like, the worse Ottawa is, the better job security I have because people love carnage.
Yes.
And so I would be the busiest guy in the network because the team was just in chaos all the time. In fact, I told Steve Stais this summer, I'm like, you know what?
You're killing me.
I'm a little disappointed in you this year. Like, there's nothing going on. This is dull and boring. And
this is it. People love a tire fire, right?
So
you can't have a show that's just like, hey, things went well this week, and your co-host like, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll see you next time.
Yeah, Sens are awesome. Good day, everybody. And I agree with that. Like, you need to have some kind of chaos just to get people involved. But like lining up guests and having the right ones on is hard. But in the summer, our July is usually one of our best months of the year because players are bored.
Right.
They're at home. They're relaxed.
Well, you and I have very different Rolodexes, if that's the thing.
Maybe, but yeah, I mean, like, I just like, hey, do you want to come on? They're like, sure. Like, we'll just
nothing else to do.
They don't have to talk about whether they had a bad game or the team was losing. So
how was your golf round yesterday?
Right? Like,
and what's
Yeah, one of our favorite topics is what's your favorite snack?
Lay's sour cream and onion chips.
And it happened by that would be true. It happened by accident in our very first interview with Daniel Alfredson. At the end, and I don't ever write my questions down.
Same.
And at the end, I'm like, what's your favorite? And I knew he liked chips, actually. That's why. I'm like, what's your favorite cheat snack? He's like, what? I'm like, when you're sitting at home alone watching a movie or whatever, like, what is your cheat snack? And people love to hear that Alfie ate chips.
Sure.
So it always became something that we'd always try to work into the show now You never know, right?
No.
Like, that's the
what's
thing.
going to catch on.
Yeah.
I appreciate you making all this time, man. I've kept you a long time here. I know you're a busy guy, especially on Fridays. The Sens skated late today. You've still got the Red Blacks thing to do. You're a guy I've wanted to have in here for quite a while. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, man. This was awesome.
Yeah, it's a good chat. I've done I'll say a few podcasts. One, they usually get my name wrong. But this has been one of the most enjoyable ones. I'll tell you that. And I can't blow smoke up people's butts. It's not how I'm wired. I really enjoyed it.
Well, I hope that means you'll come back at some point here.
No, never. But I did.
It was fun once.
Yeah.
All right, we'll wrap it up here. Thanks so much, man. I appreciate it. Coming up on Monday, Rob will be back in here. We're going to try and dance around the Blue Jays, who play at 4:08, which is right in the middle of our typical recording time. We'll see how we're going to handle that, but look for that on Monday. And then Graham Nichols and Jeff Viette next week, respectively, with the Sens and Leafs season preview shows. Andy Petrillo coming up later this month. Mike Comito coming back. He's got Bruins 365 getting ready to be released. A new book from him. Lots of good stuff coming up on the show. Thanks so much for listening. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you're hearing us right now. And we will see you all on Monday.
I thought it generally sucked. I didn't think it was a specific suck. I thought it was like an all-encompassing type of suck. So, we're going to try and rectify that. But for right now, I'm going to be pretty pissed about it.